Good morning, everybody. Today we are in Millcreek Canyon and we are at the top of the Terraces picnic area, and we are going to be hiking up to the top of Mount Raymond. Mount Raymond is a 10,200 and some odd foot peak that sits on the ridgeline between Millcreek Canyon and Big Cottonwood Canyon. This hike will be really nice. It is the 5th of October, I think, and all of the leaves are changing, so it should be really nice and colorful. And the views should be absolutely outstanding. We're going to have some really good weather today. It's supposed to be nice and sunny and mild on the temperatures, so this should be a really good hike. This hike will be close to 10.5 miles round trip, depending on how I'm feeling once we get up to the saddle. We might also hike up Gobbler's Knob, which is another peak just to the northeast of Mount Raymond. So we're going to get started. So it's about 8:45 in the morning, and it's a pretty good time to start. Kind of wished I'd come up here a little bit earlier, but it's going to be a really nice day today. The colors are really nice. The higher up we get, of course, they're going to be even more colorful. We've got all of the aspen trees turning yellow, the box elder trees turning yellow, and we have a lot of maples and scrub oak that are going to be turning various shades of orange and red. So should be pretty nice and colorful and scenic. So the first 3/4 of a mile or so of this hike runs up a drainage called Bowman Fork, and as you can see, it's got a really nice stream here, and it's a good place to water the dogs. Once we leave this drainage and start heading up higher, there won't be any water at all. So make sure they get a lot of water here, and make sure you bring water if you're going to be hiking with your dogs. Today's an off-leash day in the canyon, so we have a few furry buddies to hike with. There are these two down here, and then there were a couple others we saw just a few minutes ago. I'll try and get them on camera at some point. One of the nice things about Bowman Fork is this is a pretty deep canyon with a slope directly to the south. So it stays shaded quite a bit of the time, and it's nice and cool in here, even on hot, sunny days. There's lots of big trees. Have the stream running. It's a nice place to come up to. All of this hike from here on out is going to be in the Mount Olympus wilderness. Ah, here's the dog again. Well, it sure is a nice day out here today. Colors are just spectacular. So right here is the last stream crossing, and from here the trail is going to start climbing up, and from what I recall, this section's fairly steep, and then it's going to cut over to the right and start switchbacking up the side of the slope over here to the south of us. So if you've got your dogs with you, make sure they get well watered here and carry water for them beyond this point. So right here is where we leave this drainage and the trail switches back for the first time, and this will take us up along this hillside. The steepness will mellow out a little bit. We have a lot of up to go, but at least with the switchbacks it's a little bit more moderate than coming straight up the drainage like we have been. There are portions of this trail that run along south-facing slopes like this, where you get into more scrub oak and it opens up a bit and offers some really nice views like that, which is Gobbler's Knob. I'm going to take a moment and pan this around because we are getting into some really nice scenery up here. There sure are some nice colors. Got some red maple, golden aspens, and we have a lot of aspens down in this drainage that are still green. I'm going to pan this around for a second for you. And we are coming up to a nice clearing here. And this should be our first glimpse of Mount Raymond. So that right there is Mount Raymond. I'm going to pan this around a little bit. This big peak right in front of us is Gobbler's Knob. And there's just a lot of outstanding color right now. So we're going to kick back up here for a little while, take a break, water the dogs, eat a couple of snacks, and then we're going to continue along the way. So we've been relaxing for a little while up here with an absolutely outstanding view of Mount Raymond right there. And we're all packed up and we're ready to head back up the trail. Apparently, there is some pretty good cell coverage up on this ridge. I was able to get text messages and update the map in all trails. I just use the free version, so I can't download the maps. Might have to consider going with the pro version, though. Or something else. It would be handy to have maps on hand sometimes. So right here we're at a trail junction. This way goes to Baker Pass, which is where we're going. And from up at that pass, you can access the Desolation Trail, which runs up and down the spine of the mountains in between Millcreek Canyon and Big Cottonwood Canyon. If you want to take this other route, this one goes to Alexander Basin. And that trail is right here. And basically what that does is it works its way around the northern side of Gobbler's Knob and drops into Alexander Basin. If you are interested to see what hiking in Alexander Basin is like, I have a video that I posted earlier this year. I'll put the link right above here. And that basically is a hike that I did that started in Millcreek Canyon and hiked up the northern facing side of Millcreek. It's really pretty up in there, especially if you get up there in July during the time when they have a lot of wildflowers. But so far, this has been an outstanding hike. It is just perfect weather out here. I'm going to pan this around. We're standing in this beautiful stand of aspens right now. And these really haven't started to change. Some of them are yellow, but they're still mostly green. So as we climb higher, the view becomes pretty nice. And with this being the first week of October, all of that red over on the other side of the canyon is just gorgeous. We've had the forest start to thin out on us, and we've come into a couple of these nice little meadows. Once we get a little higher up here, this will be a pretty open and exposed terrain with a few stands of aspens and pines, but for the most part, it can be a lot of nice scenery. I'm going to pan this around a little bit. It's just beautiful out here today. The trail is going to run up here a little ways, and then it's going to cut across this slope on the north facing or northwestern facing side of Gobbler's Knob, and it will go right up into that little pass right there. That's Baker Pass. And from there we'll probably take a break, have some water. Yeah, I'll probably save my lunch for the peak. Boy, it is just gorgeous today. So there are two different times where we cross drainages along this hike that generally don't have water in them this time of year. But if you come up here early enough in the year, they often will carry water from the melting snowpack. So we are getting closer to the saddle. The trail makes its way through some pine trees and a few little stands of aspens. But there's Mount Raymond. That's the pass. We just got up here. And look at this view behind me. Absolutely spectacular. That behind me is Big Cottonwood Canyon. Up at the top of that is the ski resort of Brighton. So I did a hike up there last month to a place called Sunset Peak. If you want to check that video out, I'll put the link right up here. There's 4 nice lakes up there and a pass that allows you to look over into the Albion Basin of Little Cottonwood Canyon. And of course, we hiked along a stretch of the Great Western Trail and then made our way up to the top of Sunset Peak. So check that video out. It's really good. You'll probably like it. We are going to kick back and relax up here and take some pictures and enjoy this view. So we've been kicking back up here for a little bit, but we are going to start the ascent up onto Mount Raymond. I thought this was kind of interesting, the way this is hollowed out and twisted. Looks like this tree got burned a long time ago, but it's been lashed by so much wind and rain, all of the burn has gone off of it, and it's just been worn down smooth. It's It's really cool looking. But here's the view. There's Gobbler's Knob. There's looking up Big Cottonwood Canyon. And this is the bowl right beneath Mount Raymond. And Mount Raymond is up there. We still have a little ways to go. Well, here we are coming up the shoulder of Mount Raymond. Still got a little ways to go. I'm going to pan this around just to give you a little lay of the land here. There's Mount Raymond right below Raven. And this is looking down into Big Cottonwood Canyon. There's Gobbler's Knob. And this is looking down Porter Fork into Millcreek Canyon. Yeah, I forgot about this section. You have to go down a little bit to skirt along, I think, at the base of these rocks here. Yeah, this is kind of steep. I don't know if it goes over there though. I think this is actually the route. Right in here. It was a fun little scramble there. I'd forgotten there was a slightly technical portion to this peak, but everybody did fine, including the dogs. I was quite impressed. But from here on out, we have some semblance of a trail. Yeah, we had to work our way up, over, and down that. The route pretty much runs right up this spine of rocks here. And just enough space to walk and not too exposed. Enough for the dogs too. I think we go up this way here. Come here, Doug. I think this is the way the route goes. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's a little exposed down there. A little. We made it to the top of Mount Raymond. This is the view looking to the northeast. This is the drainage we came up. So from here we can see Porter Fork, Mount Ayr, Gobbler's Knob, Mount Murdoch, the Desolation Trail, or the Wasatch Crest Trail, depending on which one you want to call it. Over here we have Scott Hill. Over here you can see Mount Millicent, Mount Tuscarora, the back of Mount Superior. You can see the Sundial or Sundial Peak, which is up around Lake Blanche. Dromedary Peak, you can see Lone Peak way out there. This is looking down Big Cottonwood Canyon. You can see the Ochre Mountains and the Salt Lake Valley. This mountain area in front of us is the backside of Mount Olympus. Way out there in the haze, you can see Deseret Peak. If you want to see what that looks like hiking up, I did a hike up there a couple weeks ago, and I will put the video link above for you if you want to check that one out. But it is just an outstanding day. Of course, you can see the Great Salt Lake, Stansbury Island, Antelope Island, and downtown Salt Lake City, and Grandeur Peak. According to the All Trails app, this was 5.2 miles up here from the Bowman Fork trailhead. So, of course, we have that amount to go on our way back. And that makes this whole hike about 10.5 miles, maybe 10.4 and some change. But it has been absolutely fantastic. We picked a perfect day to come up here. Great colors, great weather. It's been a lot of really nice people out on the trail, lots of dogs. It was kind of nice seeing the dogs, and I know my dogs sure appreciated it. So we're going to wrap things up here and start our descent. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did like this video and you'd like to see more videos about hiking and camping out here on America's public lands, consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and we will be back next week with another hiking adventure. See you then. Come here, Doug. Come here, Doug. Doug, come here.